There was a time when nothing in baseball mattered more than power. I'm talking about the real sluggers, the home run legends, the guys who didn't just crush the ball, they bent stadiums around their swing. They were the main event of every lineup, the star and center of baseball in all its beauty. One violent, perfect swing, ball on the barrel, and the entire game could flip. For more than a century, power wasn't just entertainment, it was baseball's identity. It was the promise that kept stadiums full. And then, somewhere along the way, something broke. Today, the traditional slugger is disappearing. Power is no longer a top quality. The big-bodied, pull-heavy masher who used to anchor every lineup is fading out of the league one season at a time. Pitchers throw harder now than at any point in MLB history. Not one or two big arms, entire bullpens averaging 95 miles an hour plus. Sweepers, slurves, traditional sliders move like wiffle balls now. Pitch tunneling makes everything look identical until the last heartbeat before the plate. And when a hitter does square one up, the ball doesn't play by the rules in recent years. Exit velos are up, barrel rates are up, but home runs per fly ball? Down. Way down since 2019. Hitters are making contact harder than ever and getting less for it. Defenses, even without the infield shift, are smarter and freakishly athletic. Front offices now chase contact, versatility, and swing decisions over raw power. The modern game, faster, sharper, more optimized, has left the old school slugger behind. It's changed in a way that cursed the very players who once defined it. But before we talk about why the slugger is disappearing, we have to remember why he mattered so much in the first place. For most of baseball history, the slugger wasn't just a player, he was the sport's central myth. He was the figure every team chased, every fan idolized, and every kid tried to imitate in the backyard. The slugger was baseball's shortcut to immortality. Everyone knows Babe Ruth. He didn't just change the game, he rewrote it. Power became spectacle, identity, cultural currency. And every generation after him had its own version of that myth. Reggie Jackson, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, names that don't just belong to eras, they are the eras. Teams built around them. Front offices spent decades hunting for the next 40 homer anchor. Lineups were structured to protect them. Ballparks were literally designed to showcase them. Even the language of baseball, cleanup hitter, middle of the order, big bat, was built around the idea that the power was the engine that made everything else go. And for most of baseball history, that was true. Pitchers didn't throw 98 miles an hour with movement. Defenses weren't optimized. Analytics were basically vibes. Success had terms and definitions. If you could hit the ball hard and far, you were valuable. If you could do it consistently, you were a star. If you could do it under pressure, you were a legend. But like all sports, nothing stays the same for too long. It depended on a world where pitchers were predictable, defenses were static, and the ball behaved the same way every year. It depended on a version of baseball that simply doesn't exist anymore. Over the last decade, three forces collided at the same exact time: velocity, pitch design, and the baseball itself. And together, they reshaped the sport in ways no hitter could have prepared for. The first force was velocity. For most of baseball history, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball was a headliner. Now, pitchers are specialists with 6-pitch repertoires, all thrown at 96 miles an hour with movement that looks like it was designed in a lab. The average fastball has jumped more than 2 miles an hour in a decade. The percentage of pitches thrown 95 miles an hour plus has exploded, and velocity doesn't just make hitting harder, it erases the margin for error. But velocity was only the beginning. The second force had been pitch design, the revolution that turned pitchers into engineers. High-speed cameras, biomechanical labs didn't just improve pitchers, they reinvented them. The modern sweeper moves like a frisbee. The gyro slider drops like a manhole cover. Splitters vanish. And thanks to pitch tunneling, all of these pitches look identical until it's 15 feet away from the plate. For a slugger, that's a nightmare. This is the new reality. The modern game doesn't reward raw power. It punishes it. Velocity and pitch design might have cracked the foundation, but modern defenses and analytics finished the job. After pitchers evolved, there was still a world where a pure slugger could survive, a world where hitting the ball was hard enough. That world's gone. On the defensive side, even without the infield shift, teams defend power hitters better than at any point in baseball history. Positioning isn't instinct anymore. It's math. Every tendency is charted. Every swing path is mapped. Outfielders shade based on launch angle profiles. Infielders move pre-pitch based on what's coming. Catchers call sequences designed to drag hitters into their weakest zones. And because players today are absurdly athletic, the balls that used to sneak through the right side or drop in front of a left fielder, those are routine outs now. But then a business shift happened upstairs. Analytics didn't just change how teams defend, they changed what teams want. Front offices now obsess over three things: contact rate, swing decisions, and defensive versatility. And the traditional slugger fails all three. He strikes out too much, he chases too often, he can't move around the field, and he clogs a lineup in a sport that now values flexibility over fear. So the game created a new kind of selection pressure. If you're a slugger today, you can't just hit home runs. You have to walk more, strike out less, hit velocity, hit breaking balls, run the bases, play defense. And that's why the only sluggers who thrive now aren't really sluggers at all. They're unicorns. Aaron Judge isn't just a power hitter. He's a disciplined all-fields high OBP monster. Ohtani, well, he's Ohtani, a once-in-a-history talent who breaks any category you try to put him in. Only two examples there, but both are widely considered absolute freaks of nature in their ability and talent. They aren't descendants of the old archetype. They're the evolution of it. The rest of the sluggers without additional benefit and typically sitting at DH these days, they're being filtered out quietly, efficiently, systematically. Not because they're bad hitters, but because the modern game has no room for one-dimensional power. The sport that once worshipped the slugger now wins with stolen bases, matchup chess, and a tidal wave of analytics. And that's the final twist in the curse. The slugger didn't disappear because he failed. He disappeared because baseball learned how to win without him. Home runs just don't carry the same weight they used to. Baseball has always reinvented itself, sometimes loudly, sometimes quietly, but always on its terms. And maybe that's why this moment feels a little strange going into this new season. We're watching a position fade in real time, not because players lost a step, but because the sport around them mutated into something unrecognizable. The slugger didn't slow down. The game simply stopped waiting for him. But here's the thing about baseball. It never stays in one shape for long. Every era thinks it's permanent. Every generation believes it solved the sport. And every time, baseball proves it has another turn left in the gears. The dead ball era gave way to Ruth. The pitcher-dominated 60s gave way to the home run boom. And the analytics era will eventually give way to something else. Something we can't see yet. Something that will make perfect sense only in hindsight. Maybe the next great power hitter is already out there, learning to hit velocity the way kids once learned to hit curveballs. Maybe the next myth is taking shape in a dusty batting cage somewhere, adjusting to sweepers, tracking spin, building a swing that can survive in a world designed to break it. The slugger isn't gone. He's just waiting for the environment to shift again. And when it does, when the game inevitably swings back, we'll recognize that sound instantly. That unmistakable crack echoing through the stadium in your TV broadcast. That moment where the ball leaves the bat and everyone in the stadium knows, everyone at home knows, without thinking, without breathing, that thing's gone. Because no matter how much baseball changes, that feeling never does. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening. Catch you on the next one.